The afternoon of the contest was bright and not too windy, a perfect day for archery. Punch and cider were served, and the populace was encouraged to drink up and toast the health of Prince John. Some did without meaning their words, some spat immediately thereafter. A few muttered, "To good King Richard," into their tankards, and under their breath. A smaller range had been set up for children. The winner of that contest would also get a kiss from Maid Marian. Yuck, thought Skippy. As well as a bag of sugar nuts. Alan Adale, the minstrel, wandered around with his lute, singing popular songs, along with one or two borderline revolutionary tunes that drew frowns from the royal guards. "This is all so exciting," Marian said as convincingly as she could, leaning forward in her seat in the royal box. And to be fair, she was looking forward to seeing Red out in the open and public. He was not as good a shot as she, but certainly the best of the lot there. It is a rather propitious day," Prince John said with a sly look at her. "Tell me, my dear, is there anything you're looking especially forward to seeing?" "Well, I would be lying if I said I wasn't hoping to catch a glimpse of Robin Hood," she said coyly. "Yes, my dear, of course, we are all looking forward to catching him." He snorted and elbowed Sir Hiss. "Did you hear that? That was a good one." "Yes, Your Highness, very good, Your Highness," Sir Hiss said, only half paying attention. Suddenly his eyes widened. "Look, sire, aren't those some of Robin's merry men over there? A bear in the ridiculous get-up of a peasant with a beak, cassowary, maybe? Emu? Some other giant flightless bird? Was aiming toward them with another very fake-looking bird. Stork. Or maybe he was supposed to be a plague doctor with his long nose. This smaller bird went to enter the contest. The larger one approached the prince. "Well, hold my hat and call me mother. Is that the handsome Prince John himself?" "Sire, beware," Sir Hiss hissed. "Oh, nonsense, you suspicious snake," Prince John said, preening a little. "I am indeed him." "My word, isn't this the thrill of a lifetime?" the cassowary said as he sat down comfortably next to the flattered lion. Sir Hiss continued to hiss. The prince continued to ignore him. Horns sounded, the contest began. Trigger and Nutsy had a nephew vulture who made a fair shot within the red but no bullseye. Several professional huntsmen did moderately well, but it was obvious to all watching that the only real competitors were the Sheriff of Nottingham and the stork bird thing. Though the stork's chances in the next heat did not look incredibly hopeful, judging by the width of Captain Crocodile's toothy smile when he made the announcement. And here I was thinking that all the sheriff knew how to do was scare poor old peggars and intimidate the pious, Deacon Mouse huffed in to Friar Tuck. Everyone from the church sat together in the front row and shared a bag of fried cakes. I had no idea he had any actual skill in bow and arrow. "Well, he's not bad, but he's no Robin Hood," the large badger replied without thinking. Not that I would know, bless me, but I've heard stories." The sheriff knocked and loosed his arrow, but it was hard to see what happened next. Later, some people claimed they saw the target move and adjust itself to the arrow's position. Whatever the case, the sheriff scored a bullseye. The stork, despite being shoved by the sheriff just as he let go of the string, also managed to get a bullseye. His arrow whacked the other one clean off the target. "He did it! He beat the sheriff!" Friar Tuck shouted, leaping up. His robes billowed around him like the petals of a flower. The crowd clapped and cheered. Everyone stamped their feet. "Only Robin Hood could make a shot like that," Prince John cried. "I beg your—" Marian started to growl. "I claim my prize," Red yelled, dispensing with his disguise. He rushed forward and leapt up to kiss Marian. "Run, you fool," she said, laughing, but she kissed him back. "Now, men, seize this fox," yelled the prince. Captain Crocodile and his men rushed for Red and Little John and anyone else who was cheering in defiance of Prince John. Marian leapt up from her seat and looked around. Everything was in chaos. Here was her chance. She could run away with Red forever. No one was watching. "Come along, my lady. It's not safe." A hippo guard grabbed her by the arm, and the prince gestured impatiently for them to hurry. All Marian needed to do was sink her teeth into the guard's wrist. Her canines were long and sharp, and even if they didn't puncture his leather hide, it would probably be enough of a surprise to make him release her. And then she would be free, a happily ever after in the wilds, fighting for justice under until good King Richard came back. But she was not Robin Hood just because of her skill with a bow and arrow. She was also clever, gifted in strategy, and last but not at all least, on the inside of things happening at the castle. This was what she saw in the 2 seconds while she debated what to do. Friar Tuck, being picked up bodily by a rhino, Mother Rabbit's youngest child, Tagalong, was that her name? Crying alone in the dirt. Soldiers running rapid among the good folk of Nottingham. As Robin Hood, she could rob from the rich and give to the poor. She could occasionally attempt rescues with daring do. But once she had thrown her lot in with the merry men for good, she was Robin Hood for life. And there were some things only Marian could do. Like send communiques to good King Richard and keep track of Prince John's plans and whereabouts. She let herself be pulled away. As the guards solicitously helped her through the crowd, they passed the children's archery range. Marian couldn't help it. She grabbed a toy bow left behind in the confusion and let fly a tiny arrow before the guard even noticed. Only a couple people saw and refused to believe they saw. A child's brightly feathered arrow go whizzing through the air and then split the winning arrow down to its point, deep in the winning bullseye.